Hello, all you thoughtfully made people out there. It's Courtney Morrison with Made Architecture and Design, back with another weekend review. So last Saturday we had a family day. My dad came up from Savannah, and we went to an Atlanta United game. It was my daughter's first time at a major sporting event, so that was a lot of fun. The game was good. The atmosphere was awesome, and that stadium, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, is really cool from an architectural perspective. So we had a lot of fun doing that. On Sunday, it was family day, and then on Monday was marketing Mondays with my wife, getting some things hammered out, some things we want to do for the last half of the year as we move into the last half of the year, and just planning and strategizing, talking through lots of different options. And I think we kind of narrowed our focus, which was great. So hopefully we'll be rolling some of those things out here over the summer and into the fall, I think. So then I went and met a prospective client who is buying a new house and going to renovate it before they move in. This story is actually pretty cool because I had talked to these guys back in the first quarter of 2023. They have a double lot. They were going to subdivide, and the subdivision fell through. It was reliant on an easement and some access from neighbors and things like that, and that fell through. So they had actually signed on with me to do the new house at that point, believing that the easement would be straightforward and simple, and they would get it and do the new house. But it wasn't, and so in that time frame, they wanted to stay in their neighborhood. It's in a historic area. They really wanted to stay there. They didn't want to move around or out of that neighborhood, and they were patient, and they found a house in the neighborhood and are going to buy it, and so have come back around to me to help them renovate it. So that's really great, and I'm really grateful and thankful for them, and really it was a very unexpected opportunity. So I'm glad for that. And then, like I said, we walked through the house. It's quite an old house and needs quite a bit of updating and work. Thankfully, the client seems to have a realistic perspective of what it's going to take, so we're going to try to get it done for them as efficiently as we can. So I'm really looking forward to that one. Then on Tuesday, I had breakfast with a guy who recently went through a mentoring group. It's called Radical Mentoring. I did that about 6 years ago. He did it recently, and we had breakfast to talk. He's also in the general contracting space, so it was good to sit down and talk to him and just talk shop a little bit. So that was fun. And then did some April financial wrap-up, reconciling the books and QuickBooks and things like that, and took care of that. And then I had a long conversation with a buddy of mine who's an architect in Los Angeles. He and I talk, and I've talked about this a good bit before, but you need a peer group. If you are operating on your own or a small firm, really regardless of the size of your firm, a peer group is great. Somebody who you can call and bounce ideas and thoughts and concerns off of. In this case, I was trying to build a fee for a project and just struggling, and was able to talk through some of the components and things I was seeing, and him to give me some reassurance and feedback. How about this? How about that? Have you thought about this? And so that was really good, and I really appreciated that. And then I worked on the proposal for the grocery store project that I have out in Suwanee. I have done the field measuring for that and put together a new proposal for all of the renovation. It's a existing grocery store. They're going to take over a suite and then renovate the other suites that they occupy. So I got that done, and that was great. Or I got the draft done, and then I sent it out on Wednesday. On Wednesday, I went and toured a project that I finished a while ago. Construction's done. They converted their attic into living space. We added some dormers to the front of the house and built them a playroom and a library. And it's got some really interesting quirks and features. We built a tunnel in there for the kids to go back and forth through. So it turned out really, really good. I'm really excited. They're really excited. So that was a lot of fun to see and to do. And then I finished up the proposal for the grocery store. I went to lunch with a buddy of mine who he is in the low voltage space, and so he and I we have some overlap and get together every once in a while, and so that was good to be able to sit down and talk with him. And then I wrote the proposal for the house renovation that I mentioned. I went and toured on Monday, and then I had a prospective client meeting Wednesday afternoon for a client who wants to add a mother-in-law suite. And so we got to have a good conversation about site development, site design, agent in place, connecting the new structure to the existing structure, and how all of that kind of works together. And so I will hopefully be able to serve them. We'll see, but it was a great conversation nonetheless. And then on Thursday, I sent a recap of that conversation that I had with the prospective client. I like to go back and write down my notes and what we talked about, and if there were any points that I missed or questions that I had, put them in an email and send them. That way, they're not left guessing. I get my thoughts out of my head about it, and so that's really just a communication tool that I like to use. And then I had lunch with my brother-in-law, who's a mechanical engineer here locally. He and I get together every now and then, and sometimes we talk shop, sometimes we talk family. It just depends, but always grateful to get together with him. And then I finished up the proposal for the historic house renovation. And then on Friday, I had a conversation. I met for coffee with a guy who I used to work with. He and I worked together at a firm, really, 6-8 years ago, something like that. And he left and went on his path, and I stayed there before I started Made. And I saw on LinkedIn recently that he was going to start his own shop, so I reached out and said, hey, nobody does this by themselves. Please let me take you to coffee and just hear about what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. And so his venture is a little bit more interiors focused than mine is, but it's also very holistically focused. And so I really appreciated hearing him talk about what he's going to do, how he was going to do it, talking about working with companies and brands and really being able to translate their vision into the built environment, which is a lot about what I talk about on the commercial side, is that commercial architecture is a branding exercise. And so he and I really are in sync on that. And so I wish him all the best. It was great to sit down and catch up with him and talk about what it is he's going to be doing soon. So I love that. And then I went from there to tour a project that's under construction out in East Cobb. A contractor who I've done a couple of projects with is finishing up a job there in East Cobb. We did a kitchen expansion and a bonus room above that. And some other kind of miscellaneous things in their house. And so I got to see it. The client, thankfully, she works from home and she was there. And so she was just giving me some great feedback, and she's really, really excited. She really likes the way it's turning out. And so that's always such a huge, just a huge testament and a blessing, really, because I put lines on paper. I can imagine what it's going to look like, and I do my best to communicate that to clients. But she's there seeing it every day, and she's really excited. And so even though she's, like any client would be, tired of living in a construction site, she can really see the vision coming together, and she's excited to see it all done. So that was great. I'm glad I got to do that. And then I worked on some schematic design drawings for a client in East Cobb who's doing a remodel or renovation. And so I got those out on Friday afternoon. And so that's really all I have for now. It's a pretty busy week. I ran through a lot of stuff there. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts about who we are, what we do, or how we do it, please leave them in the comments below. I would love to interact with you there, or perhaps address a question or a comment in a future Week in Review video. So that's all I've got for now. I look forward to talking to you guys next week. Be particular, and we'll talk soon.